On his way back home from the supermarket, Goto Hidenori, a 24-year-old police officer, comes across an eerie-looking guy sitting right beside a garbage dump. With close to wearing no clothes, Hidenori takes him for an exhibitionist and tells him to freeze, placing him under arrest. However, by accident, he burns off the suspect's costume, which he had with him as he pleads to listen to his situation. 19-year-old Hazama Masayoshi, a self-proclaimed hero of justice, explains his circumstances to Hidenori. How he was telling off a drunk person who was smoking on the street, but instead got punched by him, after which both of them have a long and tranquil chat. Masayoshi explains to him how he got his inspiration and why he wanted to strive for a better society. This impresses Hidenori, who lets him off the hook and decides to watch over him. A few days pass, and Hidenori gets a distress call from Masayoshi. Masayoshi explains how he screwed up, trying to reprimand a few middle schoolers for causing nuisance, but they turned up against him, and he is currently on the run. However, he decides not to share his location with Hidenori and readies to face them head-on. Knowing the gravity of the situation, Hidenori rushes around town in search of him, when he eventually finds Masayoshi getting beaten up by the middle schoolers. The kids dash off after seeing him, and the day is saved. But despite the beating, Hidenori sees a smile on Masayoshi's face, as he was finally able to take a major step towards achieving his goal. Booming with confidence, Masayoshi continues his hero activities and becomes even more active in confronting people breaking rules. However, these activities do not sit right with the citizens affected by his actions. Hence, complaints about the self-proclaimed superhero increase, which makes him infamous in the neighborhood. Knowing full well how troublesome things could get for him and Masayoshi, Hidenori decides to meet Masayoshi at a bar, to make him stop his activities for at least a certain time. There they have an intense conversation, as Masayoshi refuses to back down, while Hidenori tries his best to persuade him out of his makeup hero game. To justify his argument, Masayoshi narrates an incident in his past of him stealing an umbrella in middle school, which ended up making the owner of the umbrella catch a cold. He explains how such small evils creeping into society can have devastating effects and how he still feels guilty about it. With the conversation going nowhere, both of them decide to leave, only to find Hidenori's umbrella to be stolen. Both of them spot the culprit and run after him, but he gets away. Refusing to give in, Masayoshi makes his hero advent and dashes after the guy, who had gotten on a train, to claim back the umbrella. He eventually catches up to the person, and after lecturing his ear out, takes back the umbrella. From being bad famous, he becomes good famous overnight, as someone uploads the video of the incident and he becomes the talk of the town. The gossip about the superhero goes viral over the internet, and Samurai Flamenco, Masayoshi's given name, becomes an internet celebrity. This attracts the attention of the media, with Masayoshi finding himself in trouble for it. Although his identity remains ambiguous, suspicions of him being the Samurai Flamenco grows. This does not sit right with his modeling manager, who becomes infuriated with the matter. Nevertheless, Masayoshi assures her that he is not the Samurai Flamenco. Out of the blue, a TV program announces to unravel the identity of the mysterious superhero. Masayoshi, along with some other suspects, are also invited. However, to everyone's surprise, the identity of the superhero is revealed to be the famous filming sensation, Kanami Joji. Shocked by the revelation, Masayoshi decides to confront Joji and sends a letter of challenge. As both of them meet, Masayoshi blames Joji to be the fake Samurai Flamenco and questions him as to why he was pretending. Joji proclaims that he is better suited to be the Samurai Flamenco because he is strong, and Masayoshi is utterly weak and powerless. After which they have a heated exchange of fists, and although badly beaten up by Joji, Masayoshi refuses to back down. Seeing his tenacity and grit, Joji agrees to take him as a disciple, and both of them continue to be the Samurai Flamenco. Overflowing with confidence after his training sessions with Joji, Masayoshi decides to patrol the infamous area of Numasaki, renowned for criminal activities. As soon as he starts his patrol, he runs into some troublemakers breaking car windows. He asks them to stop, or feel the fists of justice. However, he gets badly beaten and abducted by the thugs. As the situation gets hopeless, a pink truck barges into the room where Masayoshi is being held. A new hero of justice appears, who calls herself the Flamenco Girl, and rescues Masayoshi from the thugs, after which both of them get away from the scene. Afterwards, as they have a detailed discussion, Masayoshi is surprised to find that she knows his identity, and oddly enough, he knows her from a previous engagement as well. However, the girl has a twisted personality, blames Masayoshi for stealing her idea of being a superhero, and forces him to become an underling of hers by threatening to expose his identity. Soon after, she makes a name for herself, as both of them continue to play heroes of justice. But with that, they attract unwanted attention, and Hidenori, who catches them on their regular patrols, once again warns Masayoshi for his actions. In control of affairs this time, Mari, the girl flamenco, refuses to listen to Hidenori and electrobolts him, after which both of them make a run for it. Despite Goto's warning, both superheroes continue their activities, with their popularity rising with every passing day. However, restricted to being an underling of the Flamenco Girl, Masayoshi feels distressed and wishes to pursue his sense of justice, which was different from that of the Flamenco Girl. On his birthday, Masayoshi receives a gift from an old acquaintance. The gift contains a letter from his late grandfather, which carries an important message regarding Samurai Flamenco. This reignites the somewhat lost passion of Masayoshi, and he decides to face Mari, to tell her about the legacy of Samurai Flamenco and how he feels. Finding her in action on the street, Masayoshi assists the Flamenco Girl. After the battle ends, Masayoshi expresses his desire of parting ways with the Flamenco Girl, to which she agrees, and they decide to split up. After settling things with the Flamenco Girl, Masayoshi resumes his venture to uphold his sense of justice. On his regular patrols of the streets, Masayoshi meets an admirer of his who warns him that if things continue like this, he would die. The man then introduces himself and explains how vulnerable Samurai Flamenco was, as he was constantly engaging in life-threatening scenarios, after which he gives some tools to Masayoshi and guarantees him that these will help the Samurai Flamenco grow stronger, to which Masayoshi agrees and accepts his generosity. With his regular activities continuing, Masayoshi experiences something strange one day. The whole town starts chasing him to capture him, and after looking at the internet, he discovers that there was a prize of 10 million for whoever catches the Samurai Flamenco. Finding himself in trouble, he frantically runs around town to find a chance to escape. That is when Hidenori arrives at the scene and rescues Masayoshi, who was being cornered by some thugs. Thanks to the combined efforts of Flamenco Girl and the Samurai Flamenco, criminal activities in the city hit a staggering low. With things settling down, the hype around the superheroes also drops significantly. While Masayoshi remains largely unfazed, Mari is extremely dissatisfied with the situation and finds things getting extremely boring. To find more inspiration, Masayoshi decides to read the rest of the diaries left by his late grandfather. He comes across a shocking revelation about his parents getting killed in a robbery instead of dying of illness, which is what he thought how they had died. Traumatized by the revelation, Masayoshi decides to discuss the situation with Hidenori, offers to look into the matter, and consoles Masayoshi. However, Masayoshi declines his offer and tells him that he doesn't even remember his parents' faces, and because of which, doesn't feel compelled to find the murderers. After which the conversation breaks down. In a training exercise with the police force, Masayoshi takes the role of the hero of justice as they crack down on a drug smuggling office. But something out of the ordinary happens, when a member of the office transforms into a giant gorilla and goes on a rampage. Goto and Masayoshi manage to subdue the gorilla, after which, through a telegram, a new enemy announces its arrival by the name of King Torture. With that declaration, attacks from evil organization intensify. Once again, Samurai Flamenco and the Flamenco Girl find themselves getting busier day by day. As the opponents get tougher, Masayoshi decides to get an upgrade for the weapons that he was gifted earlier by one of his admirers. Thanks to the upgraded equipment, Masayoshi is easily able to defeat stronger enemies without breaking a sweat. Reviewing the attacks by the monsters, Masayoshi shares something with Goto that had been bothering him. He expresses his concern about the monsters blowing themselves up after their defeat, but then brushes it off, saying it is a burden that he has to bear as a superhero of justice. Brawls with the evil organization become a part of the daily routine, and all the previous buzz dies down. Not only does the hype die down among the citizens, but among the flamenco girl as well. As Mari finds the situation extremely dull, she stops fighting the suicidal monsters and wishes to fight tougher opponents. She gives an interview to a news channel in hopes that her voice reaches King Torture. Soon after, she receives information provided by Kono that he has found King Torture's hideout. She, along with a friend, decide to fight King Torture by themselves, but instead get captured. News about Mari's abduction soon reaches Masayoshi, who rushes to her rescue. But on his way, he is met by more monsters who try to stop him. Help arrives in the face of his friend, who tells him to go forward for the final showdown as he takes on all the opponents himself. With no more hurdles in his path, Masayoshi hastens toward rescuing Mari and defeating King Torture. As soon as he reaches the hideout, he gets into an intense dialogue with King Torture, after which the battle formally commences. Initially having the upper hand, King Torture is finally beaten after Goto shows up on the flamenco girl's truck, dealing a massive blow to the enemy. In a desperate attempt to turn things around, King Torture issues the strike of a deadly rocket that would destroy the city and revive the dead monsters scattered around town. However, with the combined efforts of everyone, all of his attacks are thwarted successfully, which results in his utter defeat, and the city is saved from devastation. The victory concludes a major incident and a major victory of justice over evil. Although barely making it out of the situation, both Goto and Masayoshi celebrate their accomplishment. This concludes with Masayoshi suddenly reveals his identity to everyone, hoping to turn a new leaf in his life. The end. This marks the conclusion of Part 1 of Samurai Flamenco. If you found this entertaining, then hit that like button so we can make a Part 2 for you. And while you're at it, why not share this with your otaku friends? With that said, I'll see you in the next one.